So, you know how in movies a medieval knight doesn't just wear a single piece of metal? No way. They've got the helmet, the breastplate, the gauntlets, the chainmail underneath. It's all about layers. One layer might stop a sword, another might deflect an arrow, and the padding underneath absorbs the impact. Each piece has a unique job, but they all work together to keep the knight safe. Well, in the world of cybersecurity, we have the exact same idea, but instead of protecting a person from swords and arrows, we're protecting our digital lives, our data, our privacy, our money from hackers and malware. This strategy is called defense in depth, and it's the secret weapon that professionals use to build a digital fortress. And just like that knight's armor, defense in depth isn't about finding one single magical piece of software that solves everything. Spoiler alert, that doesn't exist. Instead, it's about strategically stacking different security measures on top of each other. If one layer fails, and sometimes they do, there's another layer right behind it, ready to catch the attack. It's like a high-tech obstacle course for bad guys. They might get past the first hurdle, but can they get past the second, or the third, or the seventh? The goal is to make it so difficult and so frustrating for them that they just give up and go somewhere else. So today, we're going to put on our engineering hats and become digital blacksmiths. We're going to break down this fortress, layer by layer, from the outermost wall to the most heavily guarded treasure vault. We'll look at the real-world tools and technologies that make up each of these 7 critical layers, explaining not just what they are, but how they work together to create a nearly impenetrable defense. By the end of this, you'll understand the blueprint that keeps the entire digital world running safely. Let's get into it. Alright, so every good fortress needs a massive outer wall, a moat, and some very serious-looking guards at the gate, right? That's exactly what our first layer, perimeter security, is all about. This is our first line of defense, designed to keep the bad stuff on the outside from ever getting in. The main tool here is the firewall. Think of it as the ultimate bouncer at the most exclusive club in the world. It stands at the main entrance to our network and inspects every single piece of data trying to get in or out. It has a strict guest list, a set of rules, and if your data packet isn't on the list, you're not getting in. It's incredibly effective at blocking huge volumes of unauthorized traffic before they can even get close to our important stuff. But what if the attackers don't just try to walk in the front door? What if they launch a full-on siege? That's where intrusion detection and prevention systems, or IDS/IPS, come into play. These are like the watchmen on the castle walls with high-powered binoculars. The IDS is constantly scanning for suspicious activity, like thousands of requests coming from one place all at once, which could be a DDoS attack trying to overwhelm our servers. It yells, "Hey, something weird is happening." The IPS is the archer right next to him who hears the warning and takes action, actively blocking that malicious traffic in real time. Together, firewalls and IDS/IPS form a formidable barrier, filtering out the obvious attacks and keeping our digital kingdom from being overrun. Okay, so an attacker somehow pole vaulted over our outer wall. It happens. But now they're inside the castle courtyard and they think they're home free. Not so fast. This is where Layer 2, network security, kicks in. This layer is all about securing the traffic inside our network. Just because someone is inside the walls doesn't mean we trust them to roam free. We need to monitor what they're doing and where they're going. A key player here is, once again, an intrusion detection system, but this time it's for the internal network. It's looking for what we call lateral movement. That's a fancy term for an attacker who got in one place and is now trying to sneak over to another, more valuable system. This internal IDS is like having security cameras and guards patrolling the courtyard, making sure no one is trying to pick the lock to the royal chambers. Another huge piece of this is making sure our own people can connect safely from outside the castle walls. Imagine a trusted knight who is out on a mission and needs to send a secret message back to the king. They wouldn't just shout it across the battlefield. They'd use a secret protected channel. That's exactly what a VPN, or virtual private network, does. It creates an encrypted secret tunnel over the public internet. So even if a spy intercepts the message, it just looks like gibberish. We also use things like mobile device management, or MDM, to make sure that any device connecting to our network, like laptops and phones, is compliant with our security rules. It's like checking every guard's armor and weapons before they go on duty, ensuring our own team doesn't accidentally create a vulnerability. So the attacker has evaded the outer walls and the courtyard patrols. Now they're trying to break into an individual room, like the barracks or the mess hall. In our digital world, these rooms are the actual devices people use every day. Your laptop, my desktop, the server in the basement. We call these endpoints, and protecting them is our third layer. This is where the classic hero of cybersecurity comes in: antivirus software. Think of it as a highly trained guard dog in every single room. It's constantly sniffing for known threats, viruses, trojans, worms, and if it finds one, it neutralizes it immediately. It works by comparing files against a massive database of known malware signatures, like a scent library for bad code. But what about brand new, never-before-seen attacks? A normal guard dog might not recognize a new type of threat. That's why we now have something way cooler: Endpoint Detection and Response, or EDR. This is like a super smart CSI detective in every room instead of just a guard dog. EDR doesn't just look for known bad guys, it looks for suspicious behavior. Is a program suddenly trying to encrypt all your files? That's a classic ransomware move. Is your Word document trying to connect to a weird server in another country? That's a huge red flag. EDR detects this strange behavior, stops it, and gives our security team a full report on what happened so we can investigate. This layer is critical because it's the last line of defense for the device itself. Let's get even more specific. The attacker is inside a room, and now they're trying to tamper with the tools inside that room, like the applications we use every day. Your web browser, your email client, your company's custom sales software, these are all potential targets. Layer 4, Application Security, is all about making sure these tools can't be turned into weapons against us. One of the most important practices here is building security in from the very beginning, something called a Secure Software Development Lifecycle, or Secure SDLC. This is like having the blacksmith and the castle engineer work together when forging a sword. They test the metal for impurities, check the balance, and stress test the blade during the creation process, not after it's already broken in battle. By finding and fixing vulnerabilities while the code is being written, we make the final application fundamentally stronger. But what about applications we're already using, especially web applications? For that, we have a web application firewall, or WAF. If a regular firewall is the bouncer at the main gate of the network, the WAF is a specialized bodyguard standing in front of a single, very important application, like our online banking portal. It's an expert in a specific type of attack, like SQL injection or cross-site scripting, which are ways hackers try to trick the application into giving up data. The WAF inspects every single request sent to the application and blocks anything that looks like a known attack pattern. It's like a bodyguard who knows every dirty trick in the book and stops them before they can even be attempted. This is it, the heart of the castle, the treasure vault. Layer 5 is all about protecting the crown jewels, our data. At the end of the day, this is what attackers are usually after, whether it's customer information, financial records, or secret company plans. The single most powerful tool we have for this is encryption. Think of encryption as taking a secret message written in plain English and translating it into an unbreakable code that only you and the intended recipient have the key to decipher. We can encrypt data in two states: data in transit, which is data moving across the network, like our VPN did, and data at rest, which is data just sitting on a hard drive. By encrypting data at rest, even if a hacker steals the physical server, all they get is a hard drive full of useless, scrambled gibberish without the key. To manage all these secret keys, we use something called a public key infrastructure, or PKI. This is the system that creates, manages, and distributes the digital keys used for encryption and for verifying identities. It's like the master locksmith of the kingdom, who ensures that only the right people have the keys to the right vaults and can prove they are who they say they are. Finally, we have data loss prevention, or DLP. This is a super smart system that understands what our sensitive data looks like. It can identify credit card numbers, social security numbers, or documents labeled top secret. It then acts like a final checkpoint at the vault door, scanning all outgoing data to make sure no one, not a hacker, not even a careless employee, is accidentally leaking the treasure. So we've built this incredible multi-layered fortress. But a fortress with no one watching it is just a bunch of walls. We need a 24/7 command center, and that is Layer 6 security operations and monitoring. This is the team and the technology that actively watches everything happening across all the other layers. The brain of this operation is the CM, which stands for Security Information and Event Management. Imagine a single giant screen in the command center that collects alerts from everywhere. The firewall at the perimeter, the IDS in the network, the EDR on the endpoints, the WAF on the applications. The CM correlates all this information, connecting the dots to spot a sophisticated attack that might look like a series of small, unrelated events to any single layer. It turns 1 million points of data into actionable intelligence. This is also where we use threat intelligence feeds. This is like getting real-time reports from spies and scouts all over the world about what other castles are being attacked with, what new siege weapons the enemy is building, and what tactics they're using. This intel helps our CM and our security team know what to look for before the attack even reaches our walls. And when an alarm does go off, the Cyber Incident Response Team, or CERT, springs into action. These are the elite special forces of cybersecurity. They are the firefighters who rush in to contain the damage, kick the attacker out, figure out how they got in, and then help rebuild and reinforce the defenses so it can't happen again. Their job is to manage the chaos and get us back to normal as quickly and safely as possible. This final layer is a bit different. It's not a piece of technology, but the master blueprint for the entire fortress. Layer 7 is governance, risk, and compliance. This is the strategy, the planning, and the rules that dictate how we build and manage everything else. It starts with having clear and enforceable security policies. This is the rulebook for the entire kingdom. It defines things like how complex your password has to be, who is allowed to access sensitive data, and what to do if you think you've been phished. It's about setting expectations and creating a culture of security where everyone understands their role in protecting the castle, from the king down to the stable boy. Without good policies, even the best technology can be undermined by human error. This layer also includes formal risk management. This is where we act like the king's advisors, constantly assessing potential threats to the kingdom. We ask questions like, what is our most valuable treasure? What are the most likely ways someone might try to steal it? How strong are our defenses against those specific attacks? We use frameworks like NIST or ISO 27001, which are like proven castle building guides, to make sure we're not missing anything. This proactive approach allows us to wisely invest our resources, reinforcing the walls that protect our most valuable assets instead of just building walls everywhere at random. It's the intelligence and foresight that makes our defense not just strong, but smart. So, as you can see, cybersecurity isn't about finding that one silver bullet. If someone tries to sell you a single product that they claim solves everything, you should be very, very skeptical. True digital safety comes from this defense in-depth strategy, the careful, deliberate layering of different specialized tools. The firewall might stop 99% of the junk, but the EDR is there to catch the 1% that slips through. The encryption protects the data if the EDR fails, and the security operations team is watching over all of it, ready to respond when one of those layers inevitably bends or breaks. Each layer has its own strengths and weaknesses, but together, they create a cohesive and resilient system that is exponentially stronger than any single part. It's a security philosophy that's all about teamwork. The technology has to work together, and the people have to work together. It's about building a culture of security where every single person understands that they are a part of the defense. From the person writing the code, to the person configuring the firewall, to the person at the front desk who doesn't click on a suspicious email link, everyone is a guard on the wall. This layered approach is the single biggest reason why, despite constant attacks, our critical systems and digital lives remain overwhelmingly safe day in and day out. We covered a ton of ground today, and these are some pretty complex topics. So, if you're a student, a professional, or just a fellow nerd who wants to dive deeper, we've got you covered. We've prepared a slide deck that breaks all of this down, a printable poster of the 7 layers for your office, and even a full transcript of this video. If you want any of those, just drop a comment below letting us know which one you'd like, and we'll get it to you. Thanks for building this fortress with me today.